What is up, guys? Welcome back to the greatest channel to ever exist. Today we are watching My Dad Follow Me Everywhere. My Dad Follow Me Everywhere. Follows. Proper grammar. Jeez. My Story Animated. Go check them out and link to the video below. Don't forget to subscribe.
My head was
I already
spinning
did.
and my heart was pounding as I scanned my dad's inbox. All these emails? All these years? I knew I would never be able to speak to my boyfriend again.
What?
And I would never, ever trust my dad. For many years, I thought my dad was an ordinary.
Okay.
Ha, stupid normie.
He raised me alone after my mother
Yeah.
was gone. Over the years, Dad became a very overprotective man. This meant that I was locked inside my house throughout most of my school life. I wasn't allowed to go
These
out with
animations
friends,
are so
be
weird.
late coming home from school, or attend any parties. When the time came,
Damn, boy, he's sick!
I paused before Stella's house. Everything was strangely silent. I entered her home. Why would a raging high school party be so quiet? When I entered the living room, I saw all my schoolmates standing
everyone's
inside.
dead.
At the center of the uncomfortable crowd was my father. He was seated on Stella's couch, red with anger. He began to shout at me in front of everyone I knew. He'd known what I was up to the whole time. He laughed at me, amused by the idea that I could ever fool
Bitch.
him. In front of every one of
No
my
parties.
peers, my dad humiliated me and grounded me for a whole month. People around me laughed. I grew purple with shame and my whole body began to shake. My dad demanded I get it. The moment we reached home, I turned and looked him in the eye. I told him that he had broken our relationship tonight. I no longer wanted to speak to him. Days later, my crazy dad blocked Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and all social media sites on our Wi-Fi. He wanted
God
to
damn it.
isolate me from the outside world, but
Not
I was
Facebook.
smarter. I downloaded this app. Using that, I was still able to use all these websites,
What app?
and he had no clue. A few days passed,
What
and I
app?
didn't say a word to him.
I
I
don't
quietly
think there's
headed
an
to
app that
school
does that.
day after the day I met Ricky.
Same thing.
Ricky was a new kid, an orphan who'd been transferred
Ooh,
to the
damn,
school
he's
by
hot.
the state. He was gorgeous too, and he was the only person in school who hadn't seen
Okay,
the
no, he's
humiliating
not.
events of that. He asked me if I could help him find his class. I looked at his schedule and saw that we had a bunch of classes together. Ricky and I hit it off instantly. The day he finally asked me out on a date came quickly. I had been dreading and hoping for this day for months. When he asked me out, I burst into tears. All these weeks, I hadn't spoken one word to my dad. Now that Ricky had asked me out on a date, I knew I would have to break the silence. I would have to ask him for permission, and he most certainly wouldn't give it. Ricky seemed shocked.
Fucking stupid. Oh, there's an ad.
And confused by my reaction.
Beat the
I
system.
didn't want him to see me like this,
Let's
so
go,
I rushed out of the
bitches.
cafeteria. I walked home
Just click
alone
that
that
little
day.
circle thing
The
and you
whole
can-
way there, I tried to think of some way to
know.
sneak out of the house for one date with Ricky. Some way.
Shovel and rope. Sounds like you need to kidnap somebody and murder them and bury them and hide them in the woods and then lie about it to the investigators and get away with it for like 15, 16 years until the investigators find you again, and then you get arrested, and then you go to jail in Texas, and then
And why was he with my dad? Dad spoke up. Whisper, I told Ricky I was fine. Much to my surprise, Ricky spoke then. Sir, I'd like to ask for your permission to take Annie out for a date. I stared at my dad with fear in my heart. From everything I knew about him, the idea of some guy moving on his only daughter would send him into a flaming rage. I was surprised again. My dad was completely calm and composed.
I don't
Do
even
you
watch
want to
Dragon
go
Ball
out
Z,
with
but I
Ricky?
know what it looks
He
like.
asked me. Yes, I said. Dad said that even though he didn't like the idea of me
It's for
dating,
me.
he knew he couldn't control my life
what it
forever.
looked like.
He gave us permission to go out. In that moment, all my anger at my dad that had built up over the years simply evaporated. My father had given
Holy
me his
Jesus.
trust. I couldn't be happier. Ricky and I
The
began to
Lord.
date, and it went well for years. After high school, we got into the same college, which cemented our relationship. I started to have some doubts when I got an
Okay.
amazing fellowship in
goals.
Paris right after college. Ricky wanted to get married, but I wanted to wait until after the fellowship. My life seemed wonderful until the day
And
of
yeah,
the
you
barbecue.
shouldn't rush
My
getting
dad had
married,
invited us
honestly.
and a few friends to his place, where he was hosting a party in his backyard. During the barbecue,
Okay.
I went into his wine cellar to search for my favorite brandy. During that search, I noticed something odd about one of the walls. It could move. When I pushed against the wall, it
What
gave
the
way to reveal a secret corridor. I was utterly shocked. I had lived in
There's
this house
bats
for
in there?
17 years and never knew this existed. I went
With a
down the
bat.
strange corridor, and it led me to a small, dark room. I turned on the flashlight on my phone to see where I was. The light fell on a picture of my face. At first, I thought I was
Not
mistaken,
her.
but
What
it was
the
me. I pulled at the picture, but it was stuck to the wall with a thumbtack. I moved back to shed more light on the wall,
Bitch, you
and
can
gasp.
move thumbtacks.
Stuck
They're
to the
not that
wall
hard to
were the
move.
pictures of every person in my life. My coworkers, Ricky, my friends from college, the neighbors that came and went over the years. Individual relationships and interactions written underneath the lines. I didn't understand. This had to be the work of a madman. Then I saw a laptop on the table. I clicked on a button and the screen lit up, showing several tabs of a web page named
gonna stop.
Location Tracker. When I saw the details of that page, I felt true horror. This was definitely a
Oh,
page
goddamn.
that was tracking
Not
someone's
the
location. Mine.
location
A
tracker.
picture of me and
Yeah, they do that. That's why it's the location tracker.
beside
It
the map was a
tracks.
running log of all the locations I'd visited in the past month. The log stopped at my current location.
Paris,
My
Boston.
dad had clearly been
home.
spying on me, keeping tabs. Everything a lie? All those years when I thought he had begun to trust me, was he simply hiding his true nature? I found a folder on the
What the fuck?
desktop that said Log History. Inside it
Yeah.
sat rows upon rows of folders. They went as far back
Those are some hentai folders right there. Don't open them. Don't open those. A lot of hentai, I bet you. Bet she's in there. This is...
page and began to
This
scroll
is-
through the people my dad had been emailing. When I saw the first
That's
name
his
on the
room.
list, the blood dried
what I mean.
in my veins. It was Ricky. My dad and Ricky were exchanging emails. The subject line of the first
He's given him some A-quality hentai, like some... I don't know, hentai characters. 02. 02. He... 02. He's given her 02 hentai. Yeah.
Ricky was explaining to
3.
my dad that I didn't want to get married before I finished my course in Paris. My dad urged him to convince me to get married quickly. He said that if he didn't do it soon, I might figure out the truth. And if I did, I would never be with Ricky. What was he talking about? What truth? Ricky had replied to him, saying that pushing me would do the opposite of helping. My dad instructed him to get me pregnant if that's what it took. He didn't want me to leave Ricky and go be with some random French man he couldn't work with. Work with? I immediately left the email thread and began to scroll through my dad's
Poke a hole in the
inbox.
condom or
There were-
something. I don't fucking know. But
Suddenly, a voice cracked from behind the door. Who's there? I froze. Ricky was right outside, Dad's
Nice,
name,
Ricky.
asking if he was the one who was inside. He clearly knew about this basement, and he knew that my dad came here sometimes. I said nothing as I waited for him to leave. Much to my horror, he didn't leave. He came down the passage and entered the room. It was small and there was nowhere to hide. He saw me the moment he entered.
Shit.
The second he looked in my
Hide.
eyes, he knew that I knew.
Okay, you didn't
Before I
hide.
could even say a word to him, Ricky ran away from me. I ran out after him, but he was faster than me. He hurried out of
Damn,
the
look at
cellar
her
and
boobs.
slammed the door shut. Then he turned the handle,
Jiggle, jiggle,
and I
jiggle,
heard the
jiggle.
twist of the lock. I stared at the door in fresh horror. Had he just locked me inside? I tried to open the door.
That's
but
what locks do. They lock you in.
What was he going to do?
Or
I
lock
pulled
you
out my
out.
phone and tried to call my only friend in law enforcement, Stacy. She had been one of my closest friends in college.
Quick,
and she was
quick, call
currently
622.
Just as she assured me that she would come right away, the cellar door swung open. My father stood at the door with Ricky. I put my phone away fearfully. My father demanded to know what I had found out. I know about your
They have
secret
bright
basement,
green eyes,
I
and that
told
looks
him.
really weird.
I know you've been spying on me. I've been protecting you, Dad said. And you've been using Ricky's help? You forced my own boyfriend into this? I asked. My father tried to tell me I was overreacting, but I wasn't going to listen to his manipulative lies anymore. I'm going to the cops, I told him. I tried to get out of the basement, but Ricky pulled me back and stood before the closed door. What's the big deal about me talking to your dad?
Oh, fuck,
he asked
they're gonna
me.
rape her.
You're not talking. You're violating my privacy. Your father is trying to protect you. You should be grateful to him. You make me sick. Don't say that, Ricky said. Just because I've kept this secret doesn't mean I don't love you. He moved to try and hug me, and I slapped him. You and I are finished, Ricky,
Ooh,
I told him.
bitch
I'm taking
slapped.
that fellowship in Paris, and I'm leaving. I tried to get to the door, but my father commanded me to stop. I turned around to see him standing with a gun in his hand. It was pointed at me.
Jesus.
I stared at him in utter shock. Was this really happening? Was he threatening to shoot me? Get away from the door, he said. This is for your own good.
Just fucking pull down your pants, aim your asshole at him, and shoot fucking diarrhea like. I did that to a robber once. He tried to rob Walmart, and I pulled down my pants and shot him in the face. He just died. Great story, I know.
I'm doing all this for you, Anna. You can't keep me
I'm
in
gonna
here
kill you.
forever.
Hold on.
I shouted at him. I will do
I'm
whatever
gonna
it
kill
takes
you,
to
but
protect you.
I'm trying to
He brought
protect you.
back
I'm gonna kill
I
you
had never
right
felt
now,
more
but I'm gonna
fear in
protect
my
you.
heart. Just as I began to lose all hope,
Stupid.
Stacy kicked down the cellar door with 3 other policemen by her
Holy
side.
fucking. There, look, liked, subscribed. I did it. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. I enjoyed making this video. And maybe I'll do some more if this video gets some likes, get some views, maybe subscribers. Just do it. Just subscribe, hit the little bell, like the video, say down in the comments something like, "Good job, Wolfie. You getting so good at YouTube." I love you, bros. See you guys in the next one. Bye, 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 bye.